This week, we have been looking at parts of circles, such as lines and segments intersecting the circle at different points, and some of the theorems we talked about were the external tangent congruence theorem, which states that tangent segments from a common external point are congruent, and a line that is tangent to a circle is a line that's perpendicular to the radius at the point of tangency, which is in this figure, point P. So what I would like to share with you today are some examples on which these two theorems apply. So the first one shows 4 different problems, and what I would like you to do is pick one. Try to do that for a minute. So try to, do it in your head. You don't have to write it down, but if you were to explain how to do one problem, how would you do it? I'll give you a minute to do that. Alright, so now let's check your answers. So we know that, let's say for example, in the first one, since AB and AD are tangents to the circle from the same common external point, which is point A, then we can make 2x plus 7 is equal to 5x minus 8. Now similarly, you can set up the equation for the rest of the examples by making the two expressions equal to each other. So let's look at your answers. Sometimes the resulting equation is a linear equation in which you can just solve by getting the value of x separately. However, there are instances when the resulting equation is a quadratic equation. If that's the case, you can solve the quadratic equation by getting the square root of both sides. So let's say, for example, x squared is equal to 9, and that gives us two possible answers, which are 3 and negative 3. It is important to double check by plugging each number in to see if only one of them works or both of them would give you the same answer. Here is another interesting example. You're given a quadrilateral which is drawn around a circle, and to be more specific, we say the quadrilateral is circumscribed about the circle. Alternately, we can say the circle is inscribed in the quadrilateral. Okay, so that's how they are related to each other. A parallelogram is circumscribed about a circle if its sides are tangent to the circle. So how are we going to find the perimeter of the quadrilateral TVWY? Well, why don't you pause the video and try to think about it, and I'll reveal the answer in a while, but for now, think about how you're going to use the theorem about tangents to the same circle being congruent to each other to find the perimeter of the quadrilateral in this figure. Going back, you should have gotten 25.6 for the perimeter. So how do you get that? In this figure, I highlighted those tangent segments that are congruent. So in the original problem, this was 3.3. That means its partner on the other side must also be 3.3. So subtracting that from 4.5, this green segment is 1.2, which matches that on the other side. For the tangents from point W, 3.1 will be equivalent to this part, which forces the yellow part to be 5.2 when you subtract these from each other. And these two yellow matching parts will have the same measurement. So if you add all the measurements for the different parts of the quadrilateral, you would get 25.6. Now let's move on to arcs and central angles of circles. So in these two examples, let's tell whether the red arcs are congruent and explain why or why not. So in the first one, the central angles are equal. And if you see this tick marks on the radii or radius, it means that they're congruent. So that means the two circles are congruent to each other. As a conclusion, we can say that the red arcs, AB and CD, are also congruent to each other. However, in the second example, the central angles are the same, but the radii are different. The radius of the first circle is 5 and the radius of the second circle is 4. So even if the central angles are the same, if the circles are not congruent to each other, we cannot conclude that MN is congruent to PQ. More examples about central angles and arcs. In the following, C is the center of the circle and we need to find the value of x. So we have to set up an equation that shows the relationship between x and the other parts of the circle. So in the given example, the central angle is x, and we know that the measure of a central angle is just equal to the measure of its corresponding minor arc. So we can also place x degrees here. We know that in a circle, if we add all the measurements of the arc, they equal to 360. So that means if we solve this linear equation, we would get x is equal to 73. The next example, you're given all the measurements of the arc. So if we add all of them together, we get this quadratic equation here. By combining like terms, you get x squared plus 15x minus 324 is equal to 0. Now to solve this quadratic equation, you can do either factoring or use the quadratic formula. Now I used factoring and found two numbers that multiply to negative 324, and when I add or subtract their values, I get positive 15. So the two numbers I came up with were 27 and negative 12. Another hack to do this is you can graph the equation in decimals and find the x-intercepts of the graph. The x-intercepts will give you an idea of what the solutions are. So now if I use these two numbers to write the factors, I get x plus 27 times the quantity x minus 12 is equal to 0. So that means the solutions are negative 27 and 12. However, when I double checked and plugged the negative 27 in all of these expressions, I concluded that it is extraneous because it will make this value negative, which is not possible if you're trying to measure the minor arc. So my final answer will just be x is equal to 12. Last but not the least is the value of x when you're given a semicircle here. How do I know that it's a semicircle? If a chord contains the center of a circle, then it forms a diameter. And a diameter splits a circle into two semicircles. So that means the arc from P to R is actually equal to 180. So since the central angle is x minus 72, we can also use that for RQR. And if you add them together, the answer must be 180. So solving for x, we get x is equal to 126. So I hope that gave you more information as to how the theorems and circles can be used for computations and word problems.